What you see on screen was supposed to be the most advanced Russian fighter jet. It may sound exaggerated, but with experimental thrust vectoring technology, this was supposed to be the most maneuverable fighter jet in the world. But Russia had an even crazier idea for it: a laser weapon. It was even promised to Putin. Russia's aircraft industry openly talked about equipping it with future laser weapons. This is what could have been the most advanced fighter jet the world has ever seen. Believe it or not, before it was a ghost project with a laser gun, it was a desperate sales pitch in the heart of India. The whole purpose was to win the contract for the Indian Air Force, so the engineers at MiG-35 brought out their crown jewel, a heavily upgraded version of the legendary MiG-29. It was named MiG-35 for marketing purposes to the Indian Army, with a list of future upgrades that would be implemented. But India didn't buy that pitch. So MiG-35 continued the development of the proposed variant for the Russian Air Force, naming the new aircraft MiG-35. And while some of its wildest ideas never made it into service, a surprising amount of new technology actually did. Now let's start with what could have been the most awesome thing: the laser weapon. From the alleged sources, the hardpoints of the aircraft was increased from 6 to 8, and one of those was supposed to be for this laser weapon. We don't know exactly if it was supposed to be just an anti-missile measure or an attack weapon against other fighter jets. But even so, the engineers faced two problems: heat and size. First, it is at the moment nearly impossible to make a small, powerful laser weapon. But the most important thing is power. A laser beam needs lots and lots of power to be able to destroy the target, and that power has to come from somewhere. You see, the jet already has to power the radar, electronic warfare, avionics, flight control, and other systems. It simply doesn't have that power to also power the laser beam. And increasing the energy output on the MiG-35 means adding additional batteries and generators that first would increase weight and second would need space. And one of the things to sacrifice would be fuel storage. Let's say that those things would be possible. One thing that a laser beam generates is heat. From the power required to make the laser beam, only 40% is laser and the rest is converted to heat. Be it on the inside or outside of the aircraft, that heat has to go somewhere. So, to keep that weapon cooled, you would need additional pumps, coolant, and heat exchangers. That also means additional weight. Also, a hot laser means the aircraft is easier to detect. Who knows, maybe someday they will be able to make such a weapon for the fighter jet. Now, the next thing is maneuverability. The MiG-35 is already a very agile fighter jet, mainly because it is based on the already agile platform of the MiG-29. But there is one thing that would have brought the MiG-35 to the next level in terms of maneuverability, more precisely, one part of the engine. MiG-35 is equipped with two FADEC RD-33MK turbofan engines. These are very advanced, and thanks to modern materials in the cooled blades, these engines have a 7% increase in power compared to the baseline models. But the most important thing missing from it was the thrust vectoring nozzles. The MiG-35 was initially designed to have those nozzles that, while redirecting powerful exhaust flow, would massively increase the angle of attack and maneuverability of the fighter jet. But it was cancelled. Equipping the aircraft with those nozzles would increase the weight ratio of the aircraft. And besides, from that, the need to reduce cost was the final decision not to include the thrust vectoring nozzles. But it was mentioned that, at the customer's request, the engine may be equipped with a thrust vectoring nozzle. So let's take a look at what was actually implemented in the MiG-35. Before having the aircraft as we see it, reports suggest that the aircraft was supposed to be a single-engine air-to-air fighter jet. As you already saw previously, we have a new twin-tail engine design, and by new, I mean the upgraded of the latest MiG-29 variant. But as design goes, it all stops there. The new aircraft is very similar to the MiG-29, but apart from the exterior, this is a completely new aircraft, or so they say. This is considered a 4.5th generation fighter jet. It is not stealthy, but it does not have all the upgrades that makes it superior to a 4th generation fighter jet. Some of the main features that make the aircraft more advanced is the information sighting system from a 5th generation, compatibility with Russian and foreign-made weapons as it was intended for the international market. It is even equipped with electro-optical targeting station with look-down capabilities. That helps it to detect targets on the ground, sea and in the air. The defensive capabilities of the MiG-35 are also very important. MiG-29 already had radar warnings and flares as countermeasures, but the MiG-35 added an integrated defensive suite that could not only detect enemy radar, but also warn the pilot of approaching missiles and laser targeting, then respond with electronic jamming, chaff and flares. The aircraft is superior in manoeuvrability compared to the MiG-29. A newer, more improved avionics are applied in order for the MiG-35 to achieve air superiority as well as to perform all-weather precision ground strikes and aerial reconnaissance. For an aircraft once meant to become Russia's next major light fighter, the MiG-35 was produced in surprisingly small numbers. Russia initially discussed buying dozens, but in 2018 the first production order covered only 6 aircraft. The fighter did eventually enter operational use. In 2023, UAC said the MiG-35 was participating in Russian operations against Ukraine, and in 2025, Russian media reported that it had also been used around Moscow against Ukrainian drones. Export success was even more limited. The MiG-35 was offered to several countries already familiar with the MiG-29, including Peru and Myanmar, but none placed an order. Myanmar instead chose the larger Su-30, while Peru later moved forward with other Western fighter options. So, despite years of promotion, the MiG-35 remains one of the rarest aircraft ever to carry the MiG name. The MiG-35 was supposed to become the future of Russia's light fighter fleet, a more advanced, more capable successor to the legendary MiG-29. Instead, it entered service in tiny numbers and struggled to find customers. Yet the story isn't completely over. The MiG-35 remains alive, leaving one question if it will ever become the fighter Russia originally promised. Until next time, fly high and stay curious.